And thanks for joining Great Lakes Divide live stream here on YouTube, powered by FederalWilliams.com. That's FEDERAU Williams.com. Contact Mike Williams for all of your realty needs, whether you're buying or selling in the state of Michigan. Again, that's FederalWilliams.com, FEDERAU Williams.com. I'm your host, Adam Biggers. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81, and you can follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide, and find us on Facebook at Great Lakes Divide. This is part one. We're doing a two-part series today. It is rivalry week. Lots to talk about. So this is part one. And part two will be at approximately 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're around for that one, I want to be able to catch the late crowd as well. But do the regular Friday thing. And it's Mr. Spots Friday. So I want your score predictions, your player of the game predictions. And again, shout out to Tim and Keith down there at Mr. Spots, 808 State Street in Ann Arbor, MrSpotsAnnArbor.com and thanks to them for bringing us the score predictions and player of the game predictions every week here on Great Lakes Divide. So before I get into the live chat, I'm going to tweet the link and wait for some of you to get in here. Had an interesting discussion on Twitter. If you guys watched the live stream yesterday, we talked a lot about milk, and then I was asked, what is this? Do you put Robert? I think this is Robert Prosman. He says, do you put milk or cereal in the bowl first? Typically, always milk. I mean, always the cereal. But there are a few cereals that I've like Cheerios, Frosted Mini Wheats, and Rice Krispies. I'll put the milk in first and then pile the cereal in there so I have the right mixture. I just like it that way with it, but I don't know if anyone else does it. I don't know why I do it. But with those three particular cereals, it is milk first. So I tweeted the links. Hold on, let me put it on Facebook too. And again, follow us on Facebook, guys. That is at Great Lakes Divide. And Ryan Schuling and I we'll be doing a podcast at 4 o'clock Eastern, and then we'll also have post game from Spartan Stadium live stream. We just did a recorded video from Notre Dame, so we're doing a live stream, and that one got a lot of views and a lot of feedback. So we're just doing the live stream and see how that goes. Hopefully the Wi-Fi there is good. So all right, I have it all tweeted. Balance 440 says peace, Adam. 3513 Michigan. Hey, Balance. Good Friday morning to you, late morning. Brandon Gamble says, what up, Adam? You're wearing the wrong shirt. It's some kind of yellow, and at least it's an M for you guys, right? This is actually Mott College, Mott Bears, where I went here in Flint. And yeah, all yellow t-shirts, they're all dirty. I'm sorry. And I reminded myself when I was doing some laundry yesterday, I was like, wash some yellow ones. You promised that you'd wear some yellow. Wes likes to call it maize. It's actually gold and black at Mott. So this is gold, not yellow, but it's close enough, and it's an M. So I did what I could for you, Brandon. I'm sorry, man. A Michigan fan says, how's it going, everyone? Hey, Michigan fan, Rock City. So what's good, Adam? Rock City. Another Friday, man. Favorite day of the week. Hopefully you have a job and you have something to do. And if you don't, you're in the right place to be right now. Discussing Michigan football with me. So Robert Brocato says, Tariq and Gary, any wild guess if they'll play? Rashawn Gary is going to play when he's 100%. That I know. When will he be 100%? Don't know. Harbaugh said he didn't know if Rashawn was going to play this week. And as far as Tariq, it's probably a slight chance. I mean, Shea Patterson did hint at it. A couple people took that quote out of context saying that Shea said that Tariq was going to play. Tariq's practicing. That much is known. He's been out of a boot for a long time. He's been running and jogging. He's getting his way back there. I don't expect to see him against Michigan State. I really don't. And then they had the bye week coming up, and then Penn State at home. Penn State probably at the earliest, I would think. That's my best guess. The Big Brother says, I skipped class. What's up? The Big Brother. Hey, skip a class to join the show. Appreciate it. And I was gonna do the 8 p.m. one for you, so we'll still do the 8 p.m. for the late crowd, or if you guys who are watching right now, if you want to come back later and talk more Michigan football. I mean, that's what this week is all about. I've with Ryan and I doing the podcast and the live streams, we've both set aside a lot of time to talk about this, but there's also a lot of time to write about it. So I want to give this time real quick. I dropped this link. I wrote this earlier this week about the trick play aspect. And if you're Michigan, Ambry Thomas is a guy who I think will be involved in some trick plays. Don't be surprised. Zach Gentry, a former quarterback too. And I mean, Ryan and I talked about this in our last podcast. Why did Little Giants work so well for Michigan State against Notre Dame in 2010? Well, it's because the holder, Aaron Bates, who's also a punter, Aaron was a former quarterback in high school. And then don't forget, Rocky Lombardi, Michigan State's punter, is actually the backup quarterback because Jake Hartbarger, the starting punter, is done for the year. So I expect some tricks, definitely. Michigan fan says Gary will play this weekend. We'll see. I mean, is that your guess? I don't know. I can't confirm that. Robert Possum says, according to the Michigan Insider, he's for sure going to play. Okay, well, I mean, we've seen that he's right 0 out of 10 times, so we'll see. And again, I mean, that's easy. I mean, I could sit here and tell you right now, okay, Rashawn Gary's going to 100% play this weekend, and he does play, and boom, I look like a soothsayer. I can see the future. I know he calls himself Nostra Yoder or whatever I don't know, some play on Nostradamus. I'm seeing in the future, Rashawn Gary will play. Okay, well, if he doesn't play, oh, well, my source said something. I mean, you guys got to understand the cat and mouse game when it comes to just throwing it up against the wall. And if it happens, then this guy knows what he's talking about. It's the same guy who said Tariq Black was going to be out for the entire year. He said Michael Dwumfour was going to be out the entire year. He said Rashawn Gary wasn't going to play against Notre Dame. I mean, let us count thy ways that James T. Yoder has been wrong. And I've said his name twice already. So one more time, he's going to appear somewhere. But anyway, Drew Fortier says Ambry Thomas 2 touchdowns tomorrow. What kind? Is it off a trick play? Is it off a jet sweep? And is it one off a kick return? I mean, let's Drew, you know the game. I want specifics. Give me yardage. Let's have some fun with this. Robert Protzman says Michigan faked a trick play against Wisconsin. Could easily do something off of that. Yeah, and I mean Michigan's not a team that typically does get tricky. We've seen a little bit. I mean, we saw Grant Perry with that throw to Sean McCune. It's not so much part of Michigan's arsenal as it is Michigan State's. And Michigan State has tried some things. I mean, and there have been teams who have tried some things against Michigan, but we haven't seen Michigan State doesn't have that trademark trick play against Michigan like it does against other teams, right? So I mean, or it does have the final second play. I will say that, but it doesn't have the trick. There's not a nickname. They don't have a mousetrap or a Little Giants against Michigan. So, and not a lot of teams try that stuff. And I was talking with Ambry Thomas and Tyree Kinnell about it, and it's basically they play a tough man defense. Tyree says maybe it's kind of a nod of respect to the defense. I mean, you don't want to test them too much because A, you don't know if it's going to work. They're on alert for it, which both teams are this week, of course. And B, I mean, it's just kind of, going back to A, you don't want to waste a play or it's complicated, but it's not. We're going to see it. Trust me. Jeremy Turner says $4.99 with a super chat. I appreciate it, Jeremy. So keep up the good work. 28-17, Michigan, go blue. Yeah, guys, like I mentioned, it's Mr. Spots Friday. Let's get your player of the game predictions. If you want to get very detailed with them, that's fine. I want your score predictions. And if we want to carry over a little bit, if you had a comment from yesterday or a question from yesterday that I wasn't able to get to, please resubmit it, and I will get to it as soon as possible. Going back up here. Hold on, I missed a few. Here's a score prediction. Be Strongism. My guy Brandon Abbott says 27-13 Michigan over Sparty. Robert Bricado says, ha ha ha, LMAO, Yoder is a joke. He said Tariq will play too. Okay. I mean, this dude campaigned to be Harbaugh's assistant. If you want to talk about thirsty for attention, I mean, geez, somebody get this dude a straw. I mean, I'm telling you. Tyler Diffendorfer says, what up, Adam? Can't wait for tomorrow. Go blue. Tyler, what's your prediction, man? Adam Rosenfeld with the Spartan profile avatar thing, whatever. I hope it's a good game. Go Green. Adam, what's your prediction? Rock City says 28-10 Michigan. Rock City's in the building. Greg Ryan says, I'm sick of the disrespect. No one believes Michigan can win this game. Greg, I believe Michigan can win this game, and I've been saying it. I predicted in the beginning of the season that Michigan State would win this game. It'd be 23-20-ish. But given the injuries, no LJ Scott, who is hurt, according to everything that we've been told, still hurt, banged up offensive line, and they're down to like third string receivers and Felton Davis. I like pound for pound. I said this, pound for pound, player for player, position group to position group. I think things lean in Michigan's direction. So I am picking Michigan. I'll give you guys my score prediction before the end of the stream, but I am picking Michigan to win this game tomorrow. Robert Picado says, any impact with the stitches in Shea's hand? No, Robert. They're on his, I couldn't see exactly. It's like on his right above his left knuckle. And what he told us was something during the celebration or something that he thinks that he got it caught on a face mask. But I was watching the replay, and I think maybe he got it just caught up in a piece of equipment or something, because it was on a handoff to Karan, to where he and Karan kind of both went in with it. You remember that play? And so I've been watching back and forth, and I can't see where he would get it caught on a face mask. But that's what he said. That's what he remembered. I mean, when you're in that moment and everything, you don't realize every single detail. Everything's just boom, boom, boom. So it's not like he was deceiving us, telling us how he cut it. I just truly think that maybe he just doesn't know. And it's one of those things. I mean, I'll wake up sometimes, I'll have like a cut or something, screwing around with my dogs or doing lawn work, or, and you notice like, hey, how did I get that cut, or how am I bleeding, so it was one of those things. But no, it's his non-throwing hand. I don't think it's going to have any impact at all. And it's on his knuckles, so it's not like it's a tender spot. It's not anywhere meaty part of your hand, even with your non-throwing hand, to where it'd be painful. So I don't see that being a problem. Drew Fortier says, one long touchdown. This is in regard to his prediction, Ambry with 2 touchdowns. Drew Fortier says, one long touchdown pass, 1 sweep. Think he plays a large role in field position, too, in the kick return game. Asim Lodi says, what are the odds MSU scores first? They always do. Michigan scored on its first 2 possessions in 16. That was the last time I was on the road. I'm trying to pull up some stats that would counter that. Michigan State scoring first, maybe. I'd be interested to know who scored, like over the past 11 years, since Michigan State's won 8 of the past 11. Which team has scored first? I did not do that research. I'd be willing to bet most of the time it's Michigan State. So I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan State scored first. At the same time, like I said, I do like Michigan in this game. So the big brother says, I was wrong about the chances of rain. It's actually I can't see because it's blocked by the 0. Much, much lower. Highest being 40% at 4 p.m. Yeah, guys, and it's a day. Weather's weird, right? Days in advance, it looks like it's going to be this way. And then as you get closer, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, it's not going to be this way. And next thing we know, it's going to be sunny and 55 degrees. Who knows? I don't think it's going to be 55. I think game time temperature is going to be somewhere around 46 degrees last time I looked. So a little bit crisp, not too cold. But yeah, as long as the rain stays out of it, then I think that this will be an entertaining game. That's my thing. Football is outside, and you have to battle the elements and everything. But I want a good, clean game in terms of weather, so that way we can really see both of these teams play. And yeah, you can see, what a team is capable of doing, battling the elements or whatever. You guys remember that everybody's calling the Michigan State game a monsoon game. If you think back to 2014, Michigan and Utah, that was a monsoon. That was like the hardest rain I think I've ever seen at a football game. It was unbelievable. And so, yeah, in terms of weather, I'm rooting for the weather to be nice, because I want to be able to see both of these teams play at their highest levels, to where there's not going to be any excuses from any side, or okay, well, if it wasn't raining, they would have been able to do this. And that I want to see a good, clean weather game, so that, like I said, we see both of these teams at their best. We need that. Be Strongism says, defensive player of the game is Click Hudson, offensive player of the game, the whole O-line. All right, hold on, guys. I'm getting a lot of comments. Hold on. Adam Rosenfeld says 17-14. Michigan State. Greg Ryan says, I need sleep. I'll be back for YouTube replay, and I'll see you after the game. Appreciate it, Greg. Thanks for joining us. Robert Protzman said, I thought he got it hurt on his rushing touchdown. Yeah, he was talking about with Quran. I'd have to go back and watch the video again. I mean, it's an inconsequential injury though. Really, it's not going to affect him either way. I was joking with him if you guys watched that video because he had it iced and wrapped. I'm like, what, you got bubble wrap on that thing? So, uh, Iron Cross says it's effed up Michigan weather, rain and moo you tears for tomorrow. The big brother says no rain, 28-16 Michigan player of the game. My neighbor Karan Higdon, huge day on the ground. Yeah, I forgot. Didn't you went to high school with Karan or something like that? You know him personally. I've been told the story about Karan and True Wilson. They have pet ball pythons, and I have the audio of that with True. I've been sitting on it. I think I might post it today on Great Lakes Divide. Check that out, greatlakesdivide.com. And actually, you could just do with the settings. You could go mobile or desktop version. If you want to go straight to desktop, it's greatlakesdivide.squarespace.com. But in your settings, you can just click desktop on or off. So, and we have Nolan Is it Ager? Like Mo Ager or Ager? Nolan with a $10 super chat contribution. I appreciate it. Nolan, what's your score prediction, your player of the game prediction? Give me some stats. And hold on, I'm getting a message from Ryan Schuling here. He says, how many games has Rashawn Gary now missed? Well, he did not play. He didn't play against Maryland. Didn't play against Nebraska. He didn't play against Wisconsin, so he's missed 3. Lala says, if Lewerke is going to throw 53 times as he did in the Penn State game, his O-line better eat their Wheaties. They will need to against Michigan's D-line. And Lala, I'll say this. Mark D'Antonio has said, his offense is predicated on running the ball like 40 times per game. So I don't think we're going to see that many plays from Michigan State for Lewerke to throw that much. And I do think this is going to be a game, one on the ground. It's going to be, Michigan's defensive line. How does Michigan State's offensive line handle Michigan's D-line? I think that's a main topic of this. I think going on the road, Shea, I wrote about this. I'll post it right now. I think beating Michigan State would definitely be a legacy win for Shea Patterson. Not many Michigan quarterbacks since Jim Harbaugh's days. Jim Harbaugh had done it. Not many Michigan quarterbacks have beaten Michigan State on their first try. So, and let alone in East Lansing. Wilton Spate and Jim Harbaugh were the only 2 of the bunch to do it in East Lansing. I just posted the link. Give it a read. It's my column on why beating Michigan State would be a legacy win for Shea Patterson. And it goes beyond just the rivalry. I mean, I give you guys a list of the quarterbacks who beat Michigan State on their first try. And obviously the implications of a win over Michigan State. It keeps the playoff hopes alive, gets people off that Harbaugh road game narrative that I'm just so sick and tired of hearing about. And they're sick and tired of talking about it. Isaac Gogol said that worked for another hour and a half. We'll watch later. Hey, Isaac, how's it going? Tell your boss we said what's up. Join at 8 p.m. Eastern time for part 2 of today's live stream. Let me get to these comments. Angelica Campos says, good morning, Adam. How much did I miss? Angelica, we're only about 18 and a half minutes in. So I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter. I don't want to go more than like 40 minutes, and then we'll do part 2. So if you have any questions, I think maybe I missed a comment or a question from you yesterday, so feel free to resubmit that. I'm going to try to get to all of them. The big brother says, Cron's parents and brother live in my neighborhood. Scott Nelson was the other one I knew. Yeah, Scott Nelson, the Badger safety, was from high school. Well, you're just a person to know, I guess, evidently. Chris Carter says, hopefully Don Brown swallows his pride and plays zone on 3rd down and spies Lewerke. He killed us last year. I was there. 24-14 Michigan, says Chris Carter. That's his prediction. Nolan says, is it Ager or Ager? Nolan. Player of the game, big play, Shea, 24-10 U of M. Trey 408 says, why are Michigan MSU fans discrediting a Michigan win? Former Michigan player Marcus Reyes said that Michigan have faked. And you know what? I've mentioned, Ryan and I talked about this on the podcast, and give that here. Let me drop that link in here too. We talked about this with Marcus Ray, and I've talked with Marcus. He's been on my podcast. When I wrote for Bleacher Report, I called him for an interview, and I remember seeing him at games. I don't know if he's not there recently. I don't understand Marcus Ray's disposition, I guess, when it comes to Michigan. I really don't. And here here's part one. We did a 2-part podcast on Tuesday. Here's part one. We talk about that. So if you want to give that a listen after you're done here, or do it simultaneously. But yeah, I just don't get it. And Michigan fake swag, I don't get that. I think Michigan has real confidence. I don't think it's I don't like the word swag. Two, but I know it's because it's so overused. They have a confidence, and there's no doubting that. But there's no cockiness or arrogance to these guys, at least not to us. I mean, you probably, of course, there's probably a little bit of cockiness and arrogance within there. I mean, that's how you stay confident. But I mean, these guys are a good team. There's no fake swag about Michigan whatsoever. Getting back, hold on, guys. Getting backlogged here with the Robert Prossman says he played against Nebraska, just not after first couple drives. Yep, that's right. Robert Picado says MSU had 4 fumbles last week. Very fortunate. Michigan must win the turnover battle. I agree. Yeah, you're not going to win this rivalry game with 4 fumbles. Probably not 2. I mean, turnovers period are a huge decider. We've seen this. We know this story. Denard Robinson throwing the dagger pick 6 to Isaiah Lewis. What was that in like 2012? I believe, yeah, 2012. I mean, there's countless in this series that we can point to and say, boom, that was a key turnover. That was a huge play. Or, ultimately, like the Isaiah Lewis pick 6, that was the dagger. So, Sean DeBoer says, what's up, Sean? 31-13, Michigan. Alan Pinkney says, did you say your score prediction? Just join. No, Alan, I have not given my score prediction, but I have said, and I've been telling you guys, I do like Michigan in this game. I'll give you my score prediction at the end. Nolan says, you got it right. It's like Egger, but Ager. Okay, so Nolan Ager, I got it. RJ Booker says 27-13. RJ, I'm assuming for Michigan. Tylen Diffendorfer says 24-14 Michigan. Davis is held to under 50 yards, 200 rushing yards for Michigan. 5 sacks for the Michigan defense, I believe. Yeah, if they can hold Felton, if they can contain Felton Davis, they have a good chance of winning. Felton is their premier offensive weapon. Costco Payne, what's up, Costco? Says 30-17 Michigan. Jay Van Syke says, my bad, just got here. Who's going to be your player of the game for Michigan on each side of the ball, Adam? I'll get into that, Jay. I'll give you guys my player of the game predictions for both Michigan and Michigan State, and I'll give you my score predictions before we're through. Sherwoody 14 with a $10 super chat contribution. I appreciate it, Sherwoody. Says, have a nice weekend and go blue. I predict 33-17 with a lot of field goals early on. And Quinn Nordin, if that's going to be the case, Quinn Nordin's got to be zoned in. We've seen even on his makes, some of the makes, the distance isn't a problem. It's the accuracy. They're kind of shaky. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Quinn, but Quinn does not have that same wild thing aura about him as he did last year. I mean, how often do you see a kicker, command headlines and stuff? And I mean, last year, Quinn had a great year, and I mean, he's having a decent year this year. But I mean, I still think that we haven't seen the best of Quinn Nordin. Brian Rusinski says Marcus Ray lost big money on Notre Dame, and he's pissed. Is that a fact? Is that confirmed? Angelica Campos says Michigan alum and fans are the worst when it comes to supporting the team in down times. Ever since Bo passed and the Rodriguez era started, people haven't shown the team the support that they should. Bear Hudson says, do you expect Rashawn Gary or Tariq Black to play against Penn State? I would say Tariq would be the one I expect to see back first. Only because they're giving updates on Tariq, and it's optimistic, and it's, soon. Shea Patterson again saying, Nico Collins said Tariq's coming back. Shea Patterson has said, maybe this weekend against Michigan State. I doubt it, but, possibly, Penn State or the week after. So, yeah, Tariq's coming back. I would expect to see Tariq come back. On the flip side of that, we don't hear defensive players going, oh, Rashawn's coming back. The offensive players are very confident when they're talking about with Tariq. With Rashawn, it's like Michigan does not want to talk about that. Jim Harbaugh is not going to talk about. He's done answering questions about Rashawn Gary. He let us know Monday that he was not talking about injuries. I think I kind of lucked out a little bit on the conference call Tuesday because I said, hey, Jim, I know that you're not talking about injuries. I'm assuming that's current injuries. What about Brandon Peters? That's an old injury, right? And it's not Rashawn Gary. So Brandon Peters no longer injured, but Joe Milton is not the number 3 quarterback either. So I was able to clarify that on the conference call. Dre408 says Marcus Ray was on the Rico show yesterday and last week. He said the Michigan players need to shut up and play the game. I can understand, but shut up. I mean, they're not talking. They're not talking. They're not saying anything. You're not. What's the biggest quote that we've gotten out of Michigan this week? And it wasn't even. It was Saturday after the game with Chase Winovich saying it was a revenge tour. I mean, these guys aren't talking out of turn, or I do not get Marcus Ray. I don't. And like I said, I met him. I've sat next to him in the press box before. I'm trying to remember one time he asked me a question about something. I helped him something. I can't remember. I'd have to ask him. But I mean, I've talked to Marcus several times, and I've interviewed him, like I said, for an article. And this guy was, to hear this kind of stuff. I mean, Marcus tells it like it is, or how he feels, which I can respect that. But I don't know if he's just being too, if that's just an angle that he's trying to work. I mean, I like I said, I don't get it. And Michigan, we're not seeing these. Look at all these video interviews. You know, go on my channel, look at the video interviews. These guys are calm. They're respectful of the rivalry. They're not talking out of turn. There's no trash talking. The only thing that's even fun, I mean, Ambry Thomas said that, you know, he and Tyree Thompson are going for each other. I mean, they're former teammates. They're really good friends. They played at King in Detroit together. I mean, it's that kind of stuff. But, I mean, there's nothing that's, you know, Michigan, nobody on Michigan's side is saying anything that could be, you know, interpreted as these guys need to shut up and play, because they're not running around. So anyway, LLJ says Quiddy Pay 2.5 sacks and becomes a nationally known player. Quiddy's on his way, I'll say that. Sean DeBoer says DPJ player of the game, mostly on special teams and punt returns. LLJ 35-13 Big Blue. Alan Pinckney says 34-12 Michigan, I'm assuming, right, Alan? Mario Dwayne says, what up, Adam? Love your show. Been watching for a long time, but was never able to catch a live show. I love what you do, bro. Go Blue. Hashtag Go Blue. Hey, Mario, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the support. And, yeah, I appreciate everybody watching. If you're watching it live or if you're watching the replay, everybody reads my stuff on greatlakesdivide.squarespace.com and follows at GL Divide and follows me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. See how I worked those plugs in there? That was like, boom, just... Thanks to training with Ryan Schuling, I am now becoming a polished radio guy. Thanks, Ryan, if you're watching. You better be. Check out Ryan Schuling stuff too, guys. If you want the skinny on Michigan State and you don't want the rah-rah behind it, if you want facts, if you want great analysis, Ryan does a wonderful job. If you want to go back and do a scouting report, Ryan breaks everything down. Upon further review series goes back and breaks down plays against Penn State. Great feature on Felton Davis. If you want to get to know a little bit about Michigan State without the rah-rah stuff, go read Ryan Schuling. Ryan Schuling's work. He does a great job. Next comment. Robert Protzman says, I believe Michigan wins big. Last year should not have been close with the turnover difference, but it was because of the defense. 38-10 Michigan. Angelica Campos says 28-14 Michigan. Jeremy Turner says offense. Defensive player of the game. DPJ, defense, Devin Bush. Jeremy Turner says player of the game. It says player of the game. Who does player of the game play for, Jeremy? Okay. Big Brother says Michigan's D-line and O-line will win the game. I gotta look. These games are gonna be won in the trenches. Michigan's O-line's better, Michigan's D-line's better. Mario Dwayne says Marcus has been hard on Michigan for a while now. But like when I was talking to him about 3-4 years ago, he was not that hard. He wasn't hard. And believe it or not, it's like he wasn't even one of these snake bitten guys when it came to Brady Hoke. I'll say this: I've known Andre Weathers for a long time. Andre's from Flint. He's a coach at Flint High School now, football. He and I have had. He was on the '97 national championship team. He and I have had a lot of conversations. And he never had any bad words to say about Brady Hoke personally, but he was critical in terms of he just was not, and Rich Rod. Andre was not a big fan of Rich Rod, I'll say that. He was critical. But, I mean, it's not it, and Andre tells it like it is, but it's not even like to the point of like the Marcus Ray level to where it's like it's almost like you're talking crap about your old team. Now, there's constructive criticism. and I brought this up, with a Braylon tweet earlier this year. I brought this up to Harbaugh. There's constructive criticism from former players, which you wanted to see, you welcome it. And then there's just these guys are sounding like, upset fans. And someone made a joke about it last month, you're upset because you bet on the wrong team or something. I'm not saying that's why, but you get my hint. It's funny. Funny stuff. Leo Dice says, thoughts on MSU D-line versus Michigan O-line. Who wins and why? Michigan's offensive line. Michigan State's got a good defensive line, but Michigan's offensive line has really. I like Kenny Willekes at Michigan State. And don't forget the linebackers, too. Joe Bacci Jr. is going to be in that backfield. Michigan's offensive line's good, but Joe Bacci's really good, too. So, Joe Bacci, linebacker, watch for that matchup with Joe on the tight ends, I think. And then defensive ends, too. And McCune, specifically. Sean McCune draws a lot of defensive ends. I think Zach Gentry does, too. So, watch for Kenny Willekes, off the line against Sean McCune. Walter Mitchell says, love you, boss. If you're doing the live stream later, I'm all in. I'm on grandpa duty. Yes. Hey, grandpa duty's fun, right? Ask my grandpa. He would say no. Because I'm his grandson and I'm a pain in the ass. Actually, grandpas are awesome. I love my grandpa. I'll be back at 8 p.m. So check it out if you can't stick around. Have fun with the grandkids. Walt, thanks for watching. Robert Brocado says, I believe Ray is mad about not getting a place on the staff. My guess, something with him and the staff. And I think, look, Ryan and I discussed this, and I'm not, and you guys know me. I don't like to speculate too far or go off on a tangent or suggest. But is that logical? Yeah. Could that? Maybe. Yeah. That doesn't sound like it's some crazy thing that it's not some Yoder stuff, you just make up. I think there might be something to that. And the reason why I think that there's something to that, because I've had discussions with other people and that has been brought to my attention as well. But possibly, there's a lot of reasons. The big brother, Iron Cross says, first game for me, 76 State game, Rob Lytle. Rob's from Flint. Ran wild 48-7. Or no, I'm thinking Rob Light. Never mind. My bad. Got confused here. I was real quick to jump out. He's from Flint. Hold on. No, he's not. Brian Musinski says, I don't think he will be the player of the game, but Chris Evans makes an impact, and Adam's very happy. I think Chris Evans, just his return makes a big impact on the offense, just because versatility out of the backfield, right? And you can line him up as in the slot. We saw him lined up as a slot against Wisconsin. I think it was like twice. He's not full steam running, Jim Harbaugh said, but I imagine this past week he's gotten himself into closer to 100%. I'd like the things that Chris Evans does, that Chris Evans can do, and I've always been, when the criticism about Chris Evans, don't criticize Chris Evans for not being the type of running back that he's not. Chris Evans is not a Karan Higdon type running back. Don't criticize him for that. Chris Evans is a Chris Evans type of running back, We're going on 34 minutes, guys. I will give you my score prediction and my player of the game predictions before we leave. Robert Protzman says, I've heard about Michigan State run D. How's their pass rush? How's the linebacker in coverage? Our linebackers are decent in coverage, but their pass rush. And honestly, Robert, I haven't seen a ton of Michigan State this year, right? Because I'll focus on Michigan. So, but I have talked with Ryan, and I have talked with Mark D'Antonio on the conference calls, and I've watched some highlights and everything. The secondary has just gotten beat on some plays, and it's literally like 50-50 balls. A missed tackle. If you want to chalk it up to bad luck, but whatever. They're 117th in the country for a reason, because they just, they're not making stops, and receivers are catching balls. It's that easy. So as far as Michigan State's run D, well, their run D is number one in the country. It's 63.2 or 62.3, one of those, I forgot. It's in that range, and by far the best in the country. But we just saw Miles Sanders go for like, what, $150. Miles Sanders out of Penn State. Robert Bocado says, Ryan is the only state guy I follow on Twitter. He's great. Yeah, guys, follow Ryan Schuling. Ryan, I think Ryan's like me in a sense of the way that he covers. He doesn't think of it. You know, he's not trying to get clicks, no clickbait. He's giving you good, hard facts, good analysis, honest, authentic. He does a great job. Great job. And I have to say, too, I mean, Ryan's really helped me, I think, with the podcast. And doing the podcast has helped me with the live stream. If you guys remember, I used to be kind of all over the place. Still am, but trying to get it more organized and working on my stutter problem. I stutter sometimes. I apologize. We got a couple more, guys, and I'm going to go, and then we'll be back at 8 o'clock for anyone that wants to come back or the people who meant. Adam, you're a fan of what school? Mott College. Mott Bears. Let's go Bears. David Dusenberry says 31-10 Michigan, another statement win, but Cron player of the game, 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I'm smiling because I just gave you like a BS answer. You guys keep guessing. I'll let you know if you get one. It's not Ohio State though. Oh, Jeremy Turner says, LOL, I don't know how you keep your composure getting the same question about injuries. We know. Well, and Jeremy, I mean, it's not everybody watches every stream or watches everything. And I mean, the majority of you guys are like on it. I've even gotten updates from you guys sometimes like, hey, this just happened and I didn't know. It happens sometimes. So I don't mind getting the same question. I mean, they're going to get the same answer. I do not know. Is Rashawn Gary coming back? I don't know for sure. I can't tell you. Is Tariq coming back? Well, Shea Patterson hinted at it, but again, is that definitive? No, it's not definitive. So I tell you guys what I know, what I'm told from the players and the coaches, and what I'm able to confirm outside of that, and I give it to you. I give it to you straight. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna lead you on and say one thing to make myself look good. I guarantee Rashawn Gary and Tariq Black play Saturday. If I did that, then you guys are like, oh, well, man, this dude's super confident. He's locked in and connected and everything. And I do have good connections and I have good, but I can't guarantee that. I cannot guarantee that. But what I will say is I think, based on my personal opinion, that we see Tariq Black before we see Rashawn Gary. That's just my thought. Dre 408 says, Adam, you are awesome with your news and updates, and your show is great. Go Blue. Hey, Dre, I appreciate it. Bear Hudson says, do you expect more RPO from Michigan this game? I do. Throw off that Michigan State rush defense, and they haven't seen a lot of that. Michigan fan says, nobody was a big fan of Rich Rod. No, they weren't. I remember I was at I'll tell you guys this story. I was at the Flint Journal, and I was covering high school sports. But with Andre being from Flint, he was on that 97 Michigan team. I called my editor, and I said, hey, Bruce Gunther, if he's watching, Bruce, my favorite boss ever. I said, hey, Bruce, Rich Rod just got fired. What do you think about something with Andre Weathers on, discussing that? And he's like, go for it. So, and Andre was again, not attacking Rich Rod's, character or anything. It's just he was not the right guy, and it was doomed from the start, right, from Rich Rod. I mean, he just did not have the support coming in after Lloyd Carr. A lot of people did not want Rich Rod there, and for whatever reasons that happened. And I mean, we saw, Johnny Bacon famously wrote a book, 3 and Out, chronicling the Rich Rod debacle. So, not the right guy for the Wolverines. Robert Prossman says, seems more open this year with alumni hate, with Edwards' comments at beginning of year. Yeah, I don't get it. They're number 6 of the country. Joel Klatt's got them at number 5. The national media likes to flip-flop every other day on these guys. I will say about Joel Klatt has been consistent, and there were a couple things, I think last year, that he tweeted or said that I don't believe were 100% accurate. Or was that Joel? It's like another ESPN guy. So I think maybe, it wasn't Klatt. Never mind, I'm getting confused. Anyway, but Joel Klatt at least has been consistent. If you think one thing and you follow Michigan football and you know what you know about it, then that's your opinion, right? I mean, if I keep going back and forth every other week, what does that make me look like? I'm just trying to elicit a reaction out of you guys and trying to get clicks and all this other stuff and have people talk about me. Oh, what did you hear? Bigger said Jim Harbaugh sucks, or stuff. That's not me. That's not me. What I tell you, my feelings about Michigan football, we're right about where they are right now at the beginning of the year, except for I do think that Michigan has shown a lot in terms of being able to reach that 10-2 ceiling that we talked about. So Tyler Felichek says Michigan 27-24. State gets a late touchdown and failed onside attempt. Seals it for Michigan. Karan Higdon, player of the game. Josh Metellus, player of the game on defense. Josh Metellus is like the highest rated defensive back when it comes to target efficiency. Passes completed against him per, I think, 100 attempts, 150 attempts, something like that. It's like 5.7. I mean, Josh Metellus has had a monster year. He's already got, 3 interceptions now. He's got a pick 6. Josh has had a monster year. And he was one of those guys. I mean, I was saying last year, watch out for Josh Metellus. In the beginning of this year, I was saying, watch out for Josh Metellus. People, like to crap all over him for, at Notre Dame. And I feel like Josh Metellus has, ridden pretty hard. And one thing, a reader said, when I retweeted that stat, they said he's never been happier to be wrong about a player than he was about Josh Metellus. So I think a lot of people are eating their words about Josh Metellus. Delete those tweets. Couple more guys, I'm going to get going. SW says, you've mentioned before you're not a fan of Michigan, you just cover them. So then are you a fan? Who are you a fan of in college football? Shoot. Well, Matt doesn't have a football team, and we're just a junior college, so keep guessing. I'll let you know if you guys get close. I feel like I want to tell you, but at the same time, it's like, the discussion is kind of fun. I get that you guys want to know, but I don't understand where it exactly matters. But I guess, like on a friendly, personal basis. If I ever meet any of you guys in person and have a beer, I will tell you. Let's say that. Robert Picado says MSU. And then the other day I said, if you guys pay me on the live chat, I'll tell you. Just keep guessing. I'm not an Ohio State fan. No, I'm not a Michigan fan. I do respect Michigan, and I think I've said this a million times. Respect the staff, the players, the student athletes, the idea. These guys are chasing their dreams. If you've ever had a dream, you know what it's like to chase it, so you can respect others who are doing the same thing. So that's my stance. I'm a fan of the college athlete. Michigan fan says Bama, hell no. No, I'm not a Bama fan. No. That'd be like me being a Yankees fan in baseball. I hate the Yankees. Alabama, I like the guess though. Mark Ingram's from Flint. I did enjoy watching Alabama football when Mark was there. I would try to watch Alabama football when Mark was there. Costco Payne says my MVP, Shea Patterson. MSU will sell out to stop the run. Shea goes off for 250 plus and two or more years go blue. Two or more years? What do you mean? He's only got 2 years left. Robert Potts said, Robert Brocas said, Adam is a USC fan. Robert Pottsman says, what conference are they in? Lost Laker Boy 89 says, sounds like a Yoder type prediction. What do you mean? I don't ever give a Yoder type prediction. The Big Brother says, will Michigan bring the trophy on the field or keep it in the locker room if they win? I don't know. I may take it out on the field, parade it. It's in East Lansing. I could see that happening. Michigan fan says, I hope Bush stays another year. I think Devin's gone after this year. Cameron Fortune says, I saw Treek Black between classes this week and he was clearly limping still. Thoughts on this impacts your opinion on when he will be able to play? That's a great observation, Cameron. Like I said, I don't expect him back against Michigan State, but James Yoder is saying he's going to play against Michigan State. So we'll see. I'm thinking, like I've been saying, I'd be shocked to see him back before November. Maybe, coming back from Michigan State would have been the best case scenario. So, all right, we're going on 45 minutes, everyone. I hate to cut it short. I do have a few other Malin Guerra says, hello, Malin. Iron Cross says, Dick Rod is a Division II coach. Oh, the big brother says, if West Virginia doesn't lose to Pitt in 07, he never would have came to Michigan. Malin Guerra V says, Hablas Espanol. No. Very little. Like, I feel like it would be disrespectful to the language if I even tried to speak Spanish. So I'm sorry, Malin. I do not speak Spanish. I worked with some guys that taught me some Spanish, and it's not anything that I would probably repeat publicly. Locker room talk. Mario Dwayne says, how much stock do you put in chat sports? And I'm going to stop reading that comment. James Yoder says Treekback will be back Saturday and that Peters will transfer to Purdue in December. Really? Oh, wow. Well, I mean, he already said, earlier in the series said Brandon Peters asked for his release. Not true. I mean, then he said Joe Milton was going to transfer. Not true. I mean, this guy, I've talked to Yoder on the phone over the summer. We tried to at least be like, hey, there's no sense. I mean, you can do what you do. I don't respect it. I do what I do, whatever. And I mean, he is admitted he makes up stuff. I mean, it gets people talking. That's what he's going for. That's just shtick. He's not allowed at Michigan. He'll never get a credential. The athletic department does not have any respect for James Yoder. The players, the coaches, nothing. James Yoder is a wannabe. He is not an insider. He might know a couple people. I think he's a Michigan alum, whatever. But at the end of the day, he is not a real source of credible information. Not at all. I've read more insightful commentary on the wall of a bathroom stall than I've ever got from James Yoder, who famously said that in 2007, Michigan lost to Appalachian State because they got high before the game. And I talked to Yoder and I said, look, dude, the logistics of that don't match up. Then he said, oh, well, I was told that they were getting high the night before. Okay, because that's going to matter the next day. He's an idiot. I'm sorry. And now I'm done with that. Guys, I'm going to go. It got me all riled up. Don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth, please. And I mean, I was going to put up I was going to do my on location today. I was joking around with someone on Twitter. I have this big piece of cardboard over here in the corner of my room. I'm going to get it for you guys because I want to know your thoughts on this. So with this, I was thinking about just drawing like Michigan Stadium somewhere right here, and maybe like a stick figure of Harbaugh, so that way I could say like, hey, we got a special guest today, it's Jim Harbaugh. And then I was just going to like put it in the back like this. I'm on location here at Michigan Stadium. I mean, the guy green screens, he's a joke. Come on. All right, I'm done. This is not the Rip Yoder hour. 56-3 Iron Cross says for Michigan. Holy crap. Robert Protson says it's Texas. Keep guessing, Robert. If you guess, I'll tell you. Brian Phelps says close, isn't on the banks of the Red Sea. Oh, I got to give you guys my score predictions. All right, my score prediction for this game is Michigan 24, Michigan State 13. My offensive and defensive players of the game for both sides. I'll start with Michigan. My offensive player of the game for Michigan is going to be a joint venture because I think Karan Higdon and the offensive line, I think that's going to be major. Defensive player of the game is going to be Josh Metellus. And for Michigan State, offensive player of the game, it's got to be Brian Lewerke. I mean, you have like two options, Brian Lewerke or Felton Davis. Well, Brian's going to be the one throwing the ball. Maybe it's a joint venture, Brian Lewerke and Felton Davis. And my defensive player of the game for the Spartans is going to be Kenny Willekes. So there you have it. Iron Cross says 3 is pity points in garbage time. Michigan fan said, you said yesterday you would let us know. I know. But now I feel like it's growing to something that's so, I don't understand why everybody wants to know. So, yeah, that's my prediction. 24-13 Michigan. Iron Cross says Yoder is just short something crazy to something good. Yeah, I mean, whatever you said, I agree. Big Brother says laughing. I can't stand Yoder. That's all in one bit. Maybe I should have him as a guest on my show. I'll draw a picture of him on it. Let's have a contest. What should my green screen be? I'll draw any stadium. I can draw. I'm actually not a bad artist. I'll draw any stadium in the background, and we'll draw some stick figures. And I'll just be like, hey, look, I'm live on location with Jim Harbaugh. I mean, it really does get funny to me. So we spent too much time on this, guys. You have my score predictions. We had a little bit of fun. We didn't talk about Sega Genesis. Lamar Anthony says the Rip Yoder out. Frank Lucas, 2410 blue. Hi, Tim Beck. Hi, Frank Lucas. Coach Ryan, Minnesota. No. Sean DeBoer says, gotta be Iowa. No. God the Good One says, hey, Adam Biggers, God raids. Hashtag God raids. What does that mean? Or go raids? Or God raids? I don't know. Tim Beck says, I still think it's MSU he's a fan of. I don't know, Tim. Nate Johnson says it's a God raid, man. What is that? Lamar, I don't know. Is God raid a thing? Lamar Anthony, I'm getting through these final ones, guys, and I really have to go. Lamar Anthony says, offensive player, Karan Higdon. Defensive, Devin Bush. Megan Fox says, I'm lost. I'm lost too, Megan. You came in at a weird time, and I'm sorry. The show got really weird. What's your score prediction before we go? Is it Rutgers? David Duesenberry says, no. Lamar Anthony says he's a fan of Eastern Michigan, Michigan's little cousin. Sequab 10 says 42-21, another statement game for Michigan. Shea offensive and Bush defensive. Robert Bracado says, don't tell people then they will say you only say this of that because you're a fan of the Team X. And that's what I'm kind of worried about. You know, I mean, I don't want, I mean, I think I have a level of credibility. You guys know that I'm fair. It doesn't matter if if I were a Michigan fan, I don't think that it would matter because I don't, look through the rah-rah eyes. So you guys keep guessing. It's fun. But hey, thanks for watching. Had a great time. Great discussion today. Great discussion all week. Join me again tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time for part 2. If you want to come back, or if you're not watching this live and you're like, oh, I missed the live stream, I want to watch when he goes live, well, you can watch that one. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide, and follow on Facebook at Great Lakes Divide. And again, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Spots, Tim and Keith at Mr. Spots, 808 State Street in Ann Arbor, bringing us the score and player of the game predictions. If you're in Ann Arbor on game day, go into Spots, eat a big steak sandwich or a hamburger or some waffle fries, and talk football with Tim and Keith. Those guys really know their stuff. So, and again, I want to thank FederalWilliams.com, Mike Williams at FederalWilliams.com, our title sponsor for all of your realty needs in the state of Michigan, whether you're buying or selling. Visit FederalWilliams.com, FEDERAU Williams.com. I'm Adam. You guys are you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. We'll see you tonight. Have a good one. Thanks.